What's up, guys? I've always been asked a lot of how I culture my phytoplankton, do my rotifers, do my basically everything that I do for the clownfish breeding. And pretty much, so it's going to be like a series of videos that kind of showcase what I do for everything, pretty much, what I use, what products I like, and pretty much step by step on how to start with the Fido, do the rotifers, breed the clowns, how would I what I use to catch the clowns, and then pretty much a day by day diary of clowns from day one to I guess selling point. Um, you know, there's a lot of videos on YouTube, but none of them really show you like everything. It's pieces of this or pieces of that and what works for them and pretty much all that stuff. So I just wanted to show you what I pretty much do. So this is my phytoplankton. As you can see, I don't know if you can kind of see, I label every liter pretty much. So this is a gallon's worth. This is the gallon for the grow out. This is my rotifer sieve. This is for a different video. This is some more phytoplankton. As you can see here, it gets pretty dark. Phytoplankton, pretty much, it's really easy. As you can see here, I label 2. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. With phytoplankton, you got to start with a live culture. If you want, you can always order from Florida Aqua Farms. They sell the little petri dish, and you just put it in, 2 liters of salt water, and you mix it in with the little cotton swab they got, and it's on the petri. It's basically like a paste that grows out the phyto. Or you can just get live phyto. There's a lot of things on eBay that sell phytoplankton. Different places, your local store might have some. But in Florida, it's pretty easy to get anything as far as salt water. So it's kind of like a luxury here. But when I grow out the phyto, pretty much this is how, let's say, it would start from ground zero. So what normally happens is we get about 2 liters of phyto that you're gonna grow. Again, if you're gonna do small scale, I do a gallon because I have a lot of rotifers to feed and clowns and all that stuff. So some people do little 16-ounce bottles, like 8 of them across, or you can do whatever you choose. I just do the gallon because, again, I have a supply and demand that I need to make enough, and this is the only way I've gotten to have enough. So once you start with half your culture, basically, you're going to want to fill the rest, the second half, with salt water. I used to do natural seawater because we have stores that sell natural seawater here. But then I ended up just buying an RODI machine or system. I get 40 gallons in a tub and I make the water. And from Bulk Resupply, I got a 300-gallon salt mix for like $30. It just saved me the hassle of all the trips going back and forth. Obviously, if you don't have the luxury of having natural seawater, you have to resort to synthetic. So from here, again, if mine's a gallon, so what I do is half is my culture, and then the other half is natural seawater or synthetic seawater. So in order to get it to grow, is you need a product that basically feeds the algae. I use from Florida Aquaforms micro algae grow. It's got some F2 formula. Pretty much anybody who does phyto knows what this is. Pretty cheap. You can order it off their website, floridaaquafarms.com. I think there's a hyphen in between each word. I think it came around to like $6-7. I've had this bottle for a while, so it does last you a long time because you only put 1 milliliter per liter, basically. So this is a gallon. I put 4, sometimes 5, depending how fast I want it to grow. Normally I'd say, again, 1 milliliter per liter is sufficient. So what I do here, shake it up, make sure it's all stirred, and then I have a little measuring. As you can see, it goes through 1 through 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and suck up some from the bottle. See, it's like a yellow liquid. And then we're gonna go down to 4. So from here, what I do is I just literally just squirt it in it. Again, that's the food to basically get it from what you're gonna see is it gets, as I put salt water, it's gonna get lighter and lighter, obviously, because you're diluting it, and then it's gonna, compared to this dark green here, it'll be a big difference. So forgot the salt water, but I'll show you pretty much what I've got. I just mix it in this bucket here, nothing fancy. I do put a pump with the salt just so it keeps it stirred up. And we're gonna disconnect. So this is the bucket, and we'll get some little measuring here. Alright. Alright, again, so here we're gonna dilute the left one because it has the food, and you can compare the color to the right once you start diluting it. So we've got some water. This is about a liter. And another liter. And we're almost there. Just a little shy of that 4 liter mark. And obviously your first time doing it, it's going to be a lot lighter than this. Because this culture has been cycled a couple times, it is a little bit darker than your normal culture. So obviously your first time diluting, it's going to be a lot lighter than this, but you can see it's not that much of a color difference, you know, a couple shades darker, nothing too crazy. So from here, what I do is basically we're going to let this grow out for roughly, for me, because of the amount of lighting I do, it takes me anywhere from 5 days, sometimes 6, to get a nice dark color. Again, my culture is older, so it's going to take less time. Your first time, I definitely suggest at least a solid week of letting it get darker and darker and darker. So what I do from here is, now that I have my culture with the food and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and take it to the bubbler. And it's always good to clean your bubbler, because you'll see, like what I show you, it'll get a lot of gunk on it. Because basically, you know, the bubbler you're putting kind of like skims the water, and it gets all this nasty stuff. So from the light, I'm gonna turn this one off. Just with a little bit of light, you can see how translucent it is compared to when it was earlier. See, like, kind of, you know, the light kind of affects it, gives it darker than what it appears. But I've got just 2 regular bulbs, as you can see, just this bulb here. It's probably like a 5 watt, nothing too crazy, just to kind of give it the height. And then I've got this guy in the back. I'll show you again. Just a regular, you know, hang-on fixture from Home Depot, with just a regular light bulb. And again, this one here, it's actually 8 watts. You don't need, again, if you want it to get super dark, you know, before I was just running this guy, and it'd take a lot longer to get darker. So then I added this guy here, which again, and it's like a 25 watt bulb or something, and gives off a good, nice brightness. So with here, I put it about there just so it's, I used to do it in a closed fixture, you know, like a little separate tub. But what I noticed is it got too hot, and I think that's what was killing it every like 3 or 4 weeks, because sometimes your culture will die. So always be mindful of that. Don't think that just one culture is going to last you forever. Just be, you know, I always keep some spare phytoplankton in the fridge. I shake it up every day. Just make sure that it's not, you know, it's like a backup, like a safety, just in case something happens. I'm like, all right, well, I don't have to start all over. At least I have something, you know, and just because I was reading like your algae can turn asexual or something like that. I'm not too familiar with what that really means, but basically you'll see I'll lose color, almost look kind of like see-through like this, but this is rotifer, so you know that's not phytoplankton. But I'll get like see-through like this with basically yellow chunks inside the water. Basically when that happens, the phytoplankton is dead pretty much, and you just have to throw away that culture. But to just make sure to prevent that from happening, just make sure, you know, it's in a decent place where, again, as you see, this is all open. There's nothing really here like blocking it or closing it in. You know, make sure, again, this gets really dirty quick, as you can see before. I mean, it starts, it's kind of, I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit greenish to it. But you know, when I put it in the water, you know, I get that kind of bubbling. Just put it a little bit more down. For me, that bubble has pretty much worked for me. What I do is I kind of flip it on its side like this, so the bubbles are coming up here, and it kind of creates a current to kind of go in like a circle. It's always important to shake the bottle every day. You don't want like all your stuff collecting at the bottom. That can pretty much kill your culture too. Just letting it sit at the bottom, and pretty much you're just letting it die day by day. So again, here what we're gonna do is pretty much for the rest of the video, I'll just take a picture every day with lights and without lights, just to kind of show you like day by day what happens and how green it gets. The way I kind of judge it is I can see the airline hose in here. Usually when I know when it's ready, like even with the light on, I can't see the airline hose. That's just an indicator for me, but for the most part, the biggest indicator is the color. And that's pretty self-explanatory there. Obviously, this is kind of like a lime green, and what you're looking for is like a dark, deep green, almost like, you know, when you go to the beach and you see those green rocks and they're like that deep green. That's kind of like the color you're looking for, and kind of what you're aiming for. I don't know if I didn't touch anything in this part of the video, just leave a comment, question. I'm always here to answer what I know. Again, this is just what works for me, and what I have been doing. As you can see, like, these are the clowns I breed, plus the other clowns. I have another pair. It's an onyx with a true perk, so they make eggs all the time too. And like I said, the phytoplankton, as long as you shake it every day for the next week, you pretty much don't run into any issues. So I'll show you the day by day, 1 through either 5, 6, 7, depending on when I feel like it's ready, and then what I do kind of to restart the cycle. The beginning of the video, again, you kind of was half, but it was like what I started with, a culture with half, but the rest of the part 2 to this video for phytoplankton will just be when this is ready, day 7, and I'm splitting it in half and what I'm doing again. All right.
Yeah, this is Logan's.
I won't get confused.
Yeah, and this is towel. Brady's here is his towel.
Alright guys, so it has been this is day 6, and you can see it's pretty dark compared to this one. So this is about 6 days of just pure light, shaking the bottle every day and just letting it grow. Don't mind the mangoes, you know, it's mango season here, so that's what all the mangoes in the kitchen are. But basically, so now this is what happens, kind of like in the beginning of the video. What happens, I waited the 5 days, today's day 6, it's a nice green color, I'm ready to split it in half. So what I do basically is I get, this is what I use throughout the tanks. So what I do is I just put one of these, and I grab the phyto that I already had. So the reason I do that is to basically have the phyto rotating, so I'm not using only the new. So pretty much pour 2 liters. You know, I don't want to have the phyto just sitting in the fridge. So what I ensure basically is that I'm putting the new culture in the fridge, moving out some of the old. So we're getting nice and fresh phyto all the time. And it's about 2. Remember, it always helps to, I mark everything where the 2 liter is, the 1 liter, basically every liter comes in handy when you're doing this. So just about right there, as you can see, I'm right below the line. So this is what I'm going to use for the rotifers, for the fry throughout the next 5 days. And then I'm going to replenish this. And I have my water here, fresh seawater, which I have at about 0.102122 sometimes. So as we can see, nice and green. I'm going to pour this half into here. So right about always shake it so you get any things off the sides. And right there is my 2 mark. So this is what's going to go back in the fridge. Again, the left is what I'm going to use for my rotifers. So this goes in the fridge, nice and green. It's my backup, just to make sure, you know, in case it ever does die on you. Put it back there. Again, this is what I use, so I'm going to put this to the side because I do have to do my rotifers today. So here, basically, we're back at the beginning of the video. I'm going to put 4 milliliters of microalgae grow, which again can be from Florida Aqua Farms. It's the easiest food I've found. So right there, kind of measure out 4. One nice squirt. And then just basically pour the 2 back. And then again it gets diluted. Right up to that 4 mark. And we're done. So now this is again for another 4 or 5 days, depending. It was a little bit darker this time, so it's probably going to take a little bit less. I like to just kind of clean the rim, get any gunk out, and that's about it. Just make sure you're shaking up. That way all the food that you put in just get mixed around. And that's pretty much it. Then I'm just going to put it back on the shelf. Get the bubbles going. Again, you know, I put my bubble here. That way it kind of creates like a little vortex circle. And that's pretty much it. So that's it for the phyto portion of breeding clownfish, and you know, or just doing phyto and rotifers for your coral. So the next part is going to be what I do for my rotifers and how I handle that with the same phyto that I just cultured, plus other foods that I throw in there to get a nice batch. Alright, just remember, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns or have run into issues, and I'd be happy to answer.